for joining me today. Welcome to Sage iXBRL webinar, which is aimed at providing you with information on iXBRL and the solutions Sage have for producing iXBRL financial statements. Now, this is an interactive session, so if you think of any questions throughout my presentation, then please type them into the WebEx chat panel and I will do my best to answer your questions after the session. Now, if for any reason I cannot answer your questions, what I'll do is I'll take them away and get back to you with an answer. So the agenda for today is to go through what is iXBRL and how it will affect your practice. I'll also go through the benefits of iXBRL, and we'll also talk about considerations that you need to think about before producing iXBRL. And then we'll go on to the demonstration of Sage Accounts production, which is Sage's solution for iXBRL accounts. And then I'll take any questions that you may have at the end of the session. So iXBRL. What is iXBRL? Now, put simply, iXBRL is a bit of barcoding for financial statements, enabling every piece of data to be coded, also known as tagged, with an identity. Now, computers can then read an iXBRL report and select specific data, collate it, analyze it, and exchange it with other computers. It is a universal language that can be adapted to any nation's accounting standards. Now, iXBRL is the inclusion of all untagged items plus all the formatting instructions together with tagged items. Now, this is provided in a human-readable manner, laid out in a style of a printed document. Now, the viewed file looks the same to both author and reader and also incorporates computer-readable XBRL tags. Now, the iXBRL financial statements are then needed to be sent to Revenue Online Services for all corporation taxpayers. Now, since November 2012, the Revenue Online Services has accepted iXBRL format returns from corporation taxpayers. Now, iXBRL returns will become mandatory for all corporation taxpayers on a phased basis. Now, the Revenue Online Services stated that in October 2013, it will become mandatory for corporation taxpayers processed by the Large Case Division of ROS. Now, the Revenue is rolling out mandatory filing of iXBRL financial statements for corporation tax in stages. So the stages are, now the first group cases, which is dealt in the Large Case Division, also known as LCD, are required to file iXBRL statements in respect of all corporation tax returns submitted on or after 1st of October 2013 in respect of accounting periods ending on or after 31st of December 2012. Now, Group 2, also known as Phase 2, extend mandatory iXBRL filing to all corporation taxpayers, other than those meeting the three criteria, which I'll talk about in a moment. This will apply to corporation tax returns submitted on or after the 1st of October 2014 in respect of accounting periods ending on or after the 31st of December 2013. Now, the three criteria for exclusion from this phase are: the balance sheet value of the company does not exceed 4.4 million euros, the amount of the turnover of the company does not exceed 8.8 million euros, and the average number of people employed by the company does not exceed 50. Now, please note that to be excluded from Phase 2 filing obligations, a company must meet all three of these criteria. Then you've got Group 3, which is also known as Phase 3, which involves all remaining corporation taxpayers, and it is intended that this will commence in 2015. Now, companies not yet subject to mandatory iXBRL filing may still do so on an optional basis. The Revenue strongly encourages companies to use either the optional filing period or the test filing facilities to ensure that they're fully prepared for mandatory filing. Now, iXBRL has been available to income tax filers on an optional basis since the 1st of January 2013. So one question you might be asking yourself is, will there be a penalty for not filing correct iXBRL accounts? Now, for cases subject to mandatory iXBRL filing, the tagged financial statements will now form part of the tax return. However, recognizing that the move to iXBRL will be significant change for some taxpayers, revenue will not impose late filing surcharges or other penalties in respect of errors in the creation of filing of the iXBRL tagged financial statements for a period of 2 years following mandation, where a taxpayer has made reasonable effort to comply with their obligations. So this concession relates to iXBRL filing difficulties only and does not in any way constitute a change to the normal surcharge and penalty regime. If you are unsure of any information, then please get in touch with the Revenue Online Services. But as I mentioned, there will not be a penalty for not filing correct iXBRL accounts, as long as they are aware that the right steps have been taken in place and you've made an attempt to file the right information. So, what are the benefits of iXBRL? Now, the introduction of iXBRL enables automated processing of business information by computer software, cutting out laborious and costly processes of manual re-entering and comparison. Now, computers can treat XBRL data intelligently, and they can recognize the information in an iXBRL document. It can select it, analyze it, store it, exchange it with other computers, and present it automatically in a variety of ways for users. XBRL greatly increases the speed of handling of financial data, reduces the chance of errors, and permits automatic checking of information. Now, inline iXBRL, or also known as iXBRL, offers additional benefits as it presents XBRL data in a human-readable form, either on a screen or in a printed output. And it also enables the author's branding and layout to be maintained so that the recipient can view the same document the author created, whilst the computer can intelligently recognize the embedded XBRL tags. Now, the revenue will benefit from much more effective analysis software, cutting out unnecessary queries and helping to deliver a better automated risk assessment so they can focus resources on businesses where the compliance risk is greatest. In addition, Revenue and Companies House will achieve major improvements in the speed and efficiency with which they handle business data. Both will cut out manual processing and handling of paper. Now, as iXBRL becomes more established, many companies may find that they can benefit from using XBRL to improve internal processes. XBRL has many potential benefits for businesses, so by upgrading systems to utilize XBRL, they can streamline and automate their methods for collecting, assembling, monitoring, and reporting business data across the whole operation. They should be able to integrate data systems as well, so they can also turn internal management reporting and external reporting into processes which are fast, efficient, and cost-effective. Now, companies may want to discuss the exploitation of these benefits with their accountant and software and system providers. Consumers of financial data, including banks and other financial institutions, investors, and analysts, can receive, find, compare, and analyze data much more rapidly and efficiently if they are using XBRL or iXBRL formats. So what considerations do you need to think about? So initially, the filing of financial statements in iXBRL was on an optional basis for corporation tax and income tax payers, but now this is becoming mandatory. So as I mentioned about Phase 1, that took place on the 1st of October 2013, where it was mandatory for companies of Revenue's large case division customers to file in corporation tax return to file iXBRL formatted financial statements. And then from the 1st of May, it became mandatory for customers of Revenue Large Case Section 110 SPV customers filing corporation tax returns. Now then you've got Phase 2, which starts from the beginning of this month, 1st of October 2014, where they wouldn't need to form part of the exemptions which I highlighted below. So if you have any questions, as I mentioned, please do speak to the Revenue Online Services. And the exemptions are intended that all remaining corporation tax payers will be included in the next phase, which will commence in 2015. So HMRC's new online filing system requires compliant corporation tax software as well as accounts production software to produce the necessary set of accounts. Now, Sage Accounts Production, also known as Sage AP, is an easy-to-use, highly flexible tool packed with features designed to offer your clients a quicker, more efficient, and individual service. It's designed to work with the way accountants work, and it allows you to import data from other programs, saving you valuable time, improving accuracy, and by removing the need for rekeying information. As well as these advantages, it also has the iXBRL functionality, which I'll show you in a moment. So we're going to go on to the demonstration of Sage Accounts Production, iXBRL generation. So I'm just going to stop the presentation and I'm going to load Sage Accounts Production. Okay, so it's just loading the program for us now. Okay, so it's just loading the licensing. Okay, so I'm just going to try and drag this across to the main screen. So what we have here is Sage Accounts Production, and this is the home page where you would see all your clients listed. Now within Sage Accounts Production, what we have is we've got the standard company, limited company, master clients, and if you're going to be dealing with any partners and sole traders as well, we've also got these master clients. And when you create a new company, what you would do is select Add. You would then get this Add Dataset window where you would need to create the client code, client name, and enter their year-end date. So just for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to add a client name here. You would then enter the year-end date, and you would press tab so it adds the account description and default directory. So that's where all the data is going to be saved. And if you're on a network, then it would most likely browse to your network. You can add a password protection for your own purpose, and then you would select the client code. So which master is this customer based on? So I'm going to select the three dots, and I've got three masters, which are the sole trader, partner, and company master. I would then select company, and as we update the product, if there's new legislation updates, then all masters will become available for that limited company. So at the moment, we've just got the year-end date of the 30th of 11/2012. So that's the latest legislation that we have. And then I would select OK. Once you create the client, it then adds the client into the dataset list. So even though it says not responding, it is creating the client in the background. And then you would be able to select the year that you're working on. Now, for this demonstration purpose, I'm just going to go into this example client for an iXBRL dataset, and I'm just going to double click into the client. Once I double click, it then takes me into the dataset. And here now what I can do is I can carry out journal entries. So as you can see, I've got a number of journals already entered for this customer. I would then be able to check my nominals, so I can see all my postings for the current and previous year against a particular client chart of accounts. And I can also check my groups. So within Sage Accounts Production, you have individual groups that are set up, and they form part of nominal accounts. So if I double click into admin, for example, these are all the codes that I've posted to that are related to admin. Now, in regards to the journals, nominals, and groups, all these can be edited. So what you can do is you can go into a particular group and add a code to take part in a particular group. So in the further analysis, when you produce your accounts, it will add that group's figure as part of admin, for example. And then you can do the same for nominals, so you can add any nominals that aren't already there. So for example, you can see that I've not got 004. If I select add, I can add 004. I can add a description. So I might want to add 4, and it might be type D, for example. I would then need to select what code is this code going to form part of. So I can ask it to copy the 003 code. And then I can also assign it to a nominal group. So it would be sales, for example, that is going to form part of. Now if I select OK, then it adds that code, and then I can post to 004. Now the way you would do that is by going into journals, selecting multiple or double. I would then select 004, add my own reference. Now with narrative, you can add your narrative, or you can press return and it picks up that code, and then you'll be able to add the figure. So for this one, I'm just going to select a bank account. I'm just going to make sure that my journal balances. So I can close that now. Yes, I want to save changes, and then it would add that code for us. So now we can close that. So what you can also do within Sage Accounts Production is you can deal with payments and receipts. You can also reconcile bank statements as well. And then you've got database. Now within database, all options regarding legislation and triggers would be held within the database option. So within here, you would select if it's final accounts, you'd be able to select small entity options, what's the company status, so is it small, medium or large, and also you'll be able to see the thresholds. So all this information can be changed, and then you've also got iXBRL settings. So what information do you want to form part of your iXBRL accounts? What you can do is you can suppress, or you can select default, which means anything that's been posted, if it would then trigger it, then it would appear. Or if you want it to always print, then that information will always print. We'll just leave it to the suppress for the moment. And then you can see the notes. So which notes do you want to be set as default, or which ones do you want to get rid of? You would then be expected to work down the left column, so making sure that you've got the right directors information, auditors or accountants reports and accounting policies, financial information, if you want the statement of total recognised gains and losses as well, property revaluation, fixed asset. So you'll need to make sure that you go through all this area. Once you've done that, then you're ready to view your accounts. You can go to pages, and even though it's got the individual pages, you might want to view them all together. Or what you can do is you can go into the notes, and you can see which notes will be forming part of your report. So the page name, which normally shows the note number, and it shows the description, and then you've got note number, which would appear within the financial accounts. So we've got all these accounting policies that will form part of note number 1. We've got the turnover, which is going to form part of note number 2. We've got note 4, operating profit, which is going to be under note 3, and so forth. So it has that analysis for you. Any notes, you can go into them, and you can see what information is going to be brought forward. And what you can also do is you can press text and see the information and add any information as well. So you have the option to manipulate Sage Accounts Production if you need to. You would then select save the changed file, or you can cancel it. But what you also need to be made aware of is when you go into a particular note, It also forms part of sometimes a database, and if it says &D dot and a code, then what you can do is go select the D button on your keyboard and then enter the amount, for example, and then that would then show you where it's being triggered. So within this one, this says include accountant's report in a fully exempt account, and we've got the trigger set to yes. So then I'd be expected to go to that individual area in the database in reporting options, company status, and make sure I've got that set to yes if it's not being brought forward. If at any point you're unsure about why notes are appearing, then please do speak to our support team. They'll be able to talk you through why particular notes may or may not be appearing, or certain texts may or may not be appearing. So if I go into selection, here is the final accounts which I can then view. So what I'd do is I'd select the account and select print. It will then go on to preview, and if I select OK, it will generate my accounts for me. So as that generates, it will most likely put it into a readable format, such as a Word document, or in this case, it's just a PDF style. And what you can see is as you press the arrows, you're then taken through the contents page, directors and information page. You've got your director's report, you've got your statement of director's responsibilities, and it's just the normal accounts that you might need to file to Companies House. Okay, so it's got your cash flow statement, your notes to your financial statements, and as you can see, these notes, I've not changed them at all, so it's bringing in the default text, so you can always go back to the notes and make the amendments that you need to do. So once you're happy with the final accounts, then you may be ready to go on to generating the iXBRL accounts. So we've got three options. You can just have the iXBRL accounts, which is just the final accounts without the combined trading. You can have 98A, which is including combined trading, and then it's got one including separate trading. So for this demonstration, I'm just going to select 98, and I'm going to select iXBRL. Now, I've already gone through this before, so what you can do is if you are revisiting an iXBRL account, which you started off but need to complete again or carry on, you can reopen the previous file. Or in this case, I'm just going to select overwrite and create new. Once I do that, it goes through a validation check, and until all areas from 1 to 10 are not ticked green, it won't let you go any further. I will select next, and it does show the start date and end date if it's the first period company. Now I can change that if I want to, untick, and then I would need to review my prior year dates. Or in this case, I'm just going to leave that ticked, and then the start date and end date disappears. You can also select if it's an audit exempt company, and you can also change any of the signing dates, and you can also change the currency symbol if necessary. You would then select next, and then select generate. And then what the software is doing is it's taking all your information from your financial accounts and it's putting it within the Sage Assistant tagging software. So we'll just wait till that generates. Should just take a few moments. Okay, so Sage Assistant tagging is getting loaded on my other screen, so I'll drag it over in a moment once it's completed. And it does give you a time limit about how long it's got left to generate the iXBRL accounts. So mine's pretty fast, it's saying about 1 second remaining, and it's generated the accounts for us. So I'm just going to drag it across. So what we have here is the Sage Assistant tagging software, where you would need to go through the 6-step process. If at any point you're unsure, you can also go into the Advanced tab, which shows further analysis, and it has all available tags as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the assisted area, and what we have is within our Sage Assistant tagging software, it puts a number of the tags already for you. So we've been working with Companies House and Revenue Online Services as well as HMRC about what's the mandatory tags that need to be within Sage Assistant tagging. So that's why we've been able to put most of the tags there already automatically for you. So you can see that it says 200 tags already added and 24 items to check. Right, somebody's just said that they can't see the live video. Sorry, I don't know what time that was sent, but can somebody confirm that they can see the Sage Assisted tagging on the screen? Great, thank you. Right, okay, so what we have here is we've got the assisted tagging software. So as I mentioned, you would be able to see if there's any items that you need to check. So we've got 24 items that need checking. So what I'll do is I'll select continue, and it goes away from the confirm tags to confirm details. So there's no details that need confirming, which is fine. I will select continue, and then the 24 tags that need confirming, it will then tell us to select the description that we think is matches the description. So we've got sample county, and we can select county and confirm that. So with Sage Assisted tagging, it will always give you the ones that it thinks are the ones, but isn't too sure, so it just needs you to confirm really. So as you do that, it then goes on to the profit and loss and balance sheet. So we've got cost of sales, and it's cost of sales coming up, which is great. And as you go through each area, it will then update of how many are left. So cash in back and in hand. So I can select that. And as you go through this, I may or may not be doing them right, but that's because I'm a bit mindful that I don't want you to be watching me going one by one through everything. So I'm just going to try and speed it. That's Ireland.
Right, I'll see you next week.
Okay, so as you do that, you would then continue. I should have already selected Europe, rest of the world. Okay, so as you go through this, we're getting closer to 23, which is great. We'll be then ready to go on to the pick details area. Okay, nearly there, and that's fine. So now we've completed step 3, which is great. We will then select continue, and then we're on to the pick details area. So here it just wants us to make sure that we've got it's like further analysis done. So it's a leasehold properties. So we can select long leasehold if necessary. And that's if it needs further analysis, then it asks you to select what we think is a best description for it. And then if you need to assign further tags, then it tells you, otherwise you're ready to finish. And then it just needs double confirmation on certain things. So we just select Ireland, it's fine, confirm. And you can skip remaining issues, but you'd rather make sure that you've got the right information in there before you file the accounts. Excuse that very loud sneeze. Okay, so now what we have is we've got our completed financial iXBRL accounts, and what we can do is we can save it to another location, or you can view it in the current location. So what I have is, I'm just going to show you that now. And that's the HTML file that needs to be added to the corporation tax return. So as you can see, it's pretty standard. It looks like a normal financial accounts with our profit and loss and balance sheet information. And we can't see the tagged information, but when we send it to HMRC or the Revenue Online Services, their servers will be able to pick up all that tagging information that we've got in the background. So that's what is needed, and it, as you can see, it's just a standard set of financial statements. So we would then be ready to close this area. We can OK that, and if we ever need to revisit that file, we can always go back into it, or you can always overwrite it. So going back to the presentation, it's gone all the way to the beginning, so we're just going to go through this. So I guess now the resources that we have available for you are now the online filing system requires the software that we've talked about, and you might need support on how to do the tagging, or you might have further questions about how to add notes. Well, you have support available, and you can give us a call and they will help you through any of your iXBRL requirements, or even how to deal with the financial statements, how to add notes. Then we've also got a website called iXBRLwithsage.com, which has a lot of comprehensive information on there on how you can get started. And you can also book onto a training webinar for Sage Accounts Production Range, where it will be approximately 1 hour, and it will provide an overview of the Sage-assisted tagging solution, including a reminder of the nature and history of the iXBRL taxonomy, how to update to the new version of Accounts Production Range, how to launch and work through the new tagging wizard, and how to confirm and pick tags details for each of the accounts. We've also got common tagging scenarios within the training, and you can also know about how to validate and produce iXBRL accounts. So basically what I've just gone through, but in a more detailed process. Now, some of the information that I have taken for this webinar has been from the Revenue Online Services website. So there's a number of frequently asked questions on there, so please do have a look, and it might answer some of the questions that you may have. So that does conclude the session. So thank you very much for joining me. I'll see if there's any questions that people have added to the chat feature. It doesn't look like there is any questions. What I'll do is you should have my email address. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email, and I'll try my best to answer them. But thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.